Hi everybody, I'm going to try to explain how to reconstitute your peptides. You're going to need a syringe, you're going to need your bacteriostatic water, backwater, you're going to need your rubbing alcohol, and then of course you're going to need your peptides. So let's start first with the syringe. I know most of us don't know anything about syringes before we've hit the peptide scene. I sure didn't. This is a disposable syringe. It's an insulin syringe. It's large enough to hold 100 units. You'll see down the side, it'll count 10, 20, 30, 40, all the way down to 100. 100 units equals 1 milliliter, okay? Right there, you'll see that. You can sometimes get, I'm not sure if you can actually see that because my light might be glaring off of it, but it'll say 1 milliliter, and then on the other side, it'll go down to 100 units. Sometimes you can get them smaller. There'll be, this one, for example, is an 8 millimeter syringe. So it holds 1 milliliter. Sometimes you'll find them and it'll be a 6 millimeter syringe, which will only hold, or 0.5 milliliters. So it'll be tinier and smaller. That's okay if you can only get those smaller ones. The units are what's important, okay? So on here, you'll see it's counting down 10, 20, 30, 40, and then in between there's little lines. Those lines are 2 units each, the little micro lines. You can see them there. Okay, so when you're measuring out your liquid, you know what your measurement is, okay? So basically, 1 milliliter syringe is equal to 100 units, and normally they're 8 millimeters sort of wide. Okay, that's your syringe. Now you can get these. You can get them at Shoppers Drug Mart or any of the pharmacies. You can get them in a pack of like 10. They're going to be kind of costly. You'll probably have to pay about $1 a syringe it comes to after everything's said and done. I can tell you right now, you can get them. You can get a box of 100 of these on Amazon for about $30, and then I paid the shipping because I don't have Amazon Prime, which came to another 10. So about $40 all in, and that's 100 syringes. You do the math on that, it's pretty cheap. And that's your best deal on syringes. When you're looking for these on Amazon, you're going to look for a U-100 insulin syringe. That's the specific brand, U-100. The size is 5/16 or 8 millimeters, and they're individually wrapped, okay? They're gonna come in little packets like this, and you'll see it costs $31 on Amazon. You can also find them there for 0.5 milliliters, so just watch what you're shopping for. Okay, so those are the syringes, and that's the best deal. The next thing you've got, I keep on knocking over my peptides, which I shouldn't do. Next thing you've got is bacteriostatic water, backwater. None of us knew anything about this either, well, most of us. Okay, so when I went into the pharmacy to try to buy this, they were all sold out. And depending on where you live, you might have to order this stuff in. They don't charge you extra to order it in. I went to my pharmacy. They ordered it in for me. I got it in 2 days. And this cost me about $7.30 a bottle. In any case, wherever you buy this, it shouldn't cost you more than $10 a bottle for this bacterial water. Okay? Bacteriostatic water. I call it backwater for short. It'll have a little cap on it. These don't look big, but they last for a long time. So you're going to get a lot of use out of one of these bottles. The next thing you have, of course, is your rubbing alcohol. Make sure it's 99% pure. You want the real good stuff. What I do is I put a little bit of rubbing alcohol in this little, and every time I go to reuse my syringe, I put it in there. So I'm cleaning it every time that I use it. You can probably get 5 or 6 times out of one syringe. Sometimes I can push it. You're going to know what your limit is. If the syringe doesn't go in very easily, or if it starts to hurt wherever you put it, you know it's kind of dead. Also, when you're looking at this syringe, I don't know if you can see that little needle? That little needle bends really easily, so you got to be gentle with it, okay? There's your syringe. There's your rubbing alcohol, and then we're going to dunk this in here. Just going to hold it in there for a second, and I'm going to take this out. It comes with a little cap. You kind of have to like peel it off. Now here's the bacteriostatic water. It's just like the peptides. There's going to be a little circle inside the cap. That's the sweet spot. It's softer in there. Try to get it right in the center. Okay? So this is a peptide. It comes to you in sort of a powder format like that. This, for example, is Reconstitute. These little bottles are 10 milligrams each, okay? So you'll get your instructions and it'll say 10 milligrams, which is the size of the bottle, and 2 milliliters of backwater. So if you remember, 1 milliliter is a full syringe, up to 100 units. So what you're gonna do is calculate that. You need 2 milliliters, that's 2 syringes full in a 10 milligram bottle of peptides. So you need 2 of these and 1 of these. Does that make sense? Okay, look. So what I've done, and I'm just going to take the little cap off of this one. They're a little hard to get off, but if you've got some nail there, okay? So you want to be careful with your peptides. You don't want to be like shaking it or anything like that. Be gentle with it. If you want, you can maybe roll it a little on the side just to loosen it up, but don't shake your peptides. Not cool. You reconstitute this peptide, which means adding backwater to it so that you have a liquid that you can inject, okay? So again, 10 milligrams, which is the size of this bottle. You'll also see this. These are larger. This is a 10 milligram bottle. And 2 milliliters of backwater. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this needle into the middle of the backwater right there. It should go in really easily like that, okay? Just gentle. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the bottle, sort of rest it in my hand here, so and I'm going to turn it so that I can read the numbers and I can actually see the water being sort of drawn down into. I'm just going to start to pull on this end right here, and you'll see the top of the needle, the syringe, is loading up with bacteriostatic water. You'll see that. You can kind of see. So right now I'm at 20. I'm just going to go down. I'm just going to hold this here, and I'm just going to pull it down slow enough that you don't get air bubbles, and you'll see if there's air bubbles, you'll see it right at the top. You don't want air bubbles, okay guys? So I'm just going to keep on drawing down. Sometimes you have to watch the needle that you haven't pulled it out like I just did right there. So now I'm out at about 50 or 60. So I'm going to just pull the needle down. I'm going to hold the bottle firmly in the palm of my hand, and I'm going to keep on drawing down water. Okay, so I'm at 100, and as you can see, there is 100 milliliters or 100 units. I'm getting my sizing all wrong here. So 100 units is 1 milliliter. That's what you want, okay? Little knob here will be down at the 100 line. Not sure if you can see that. Okay, I'm just going to pull it out really easily, like this. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the syringe full of backwater, and I'm going to take my peptide. I'm going to hold my peptide on the side, okay? Because you want to inject the backwater with the bottle on its side. You want the peptides to not get broken in the process. You don't want it splashing around. You don't want to shove the backwater in there. You want to do this gently, and you want it to be running down the side of the bottle, okay? So you're going to take your syringe. You're going to find that little sweet spot, which is right there. You can see the center of it. You're just going to push it in. Okay, there, you see it's in? So actually what's happening, and I don't even have to push it, is the syringe is pushing itself down. You see that? That's from the pressure. And then as you can see, it's just sort of, I don't know if you can see it that well, but the bacteriostatic water is going in easily on its own, okay? That's 1 milliliter. This bottle needs 2. You can see there's still a little bit of powder floating on the top. So we're going to do it again. That I'm not allowing any air bubbles at the top, and that the backwater is actually coming down fairly easily. Okay, so now I've got a full syringe again. I'm at 100 units, no air bubbles. I'm going to take that out. I'm going to add my second milliliter. So I need 2 milliliters, and we're putting in the second one here. There's a sweet spot. Aha. Now there you see, now it's pushing itself down. I don't even have to touch the end of the syringe. See, it's moving on its own. And you can see that my bottle is getting filled up with backwater. I'm just going to wait for that. It takes about 20 seconds to do the whole thing. It's not a long time. There you go. Okay, and there's your bottle of Reconstitute. Whatever peptide you're using. There it is right there. Again, don't shake it. When you're done with this, put it in the fridge. It has to stay cool. Okay, guys? I think I've covered just about everything. Like I said, the 6 millimeters are going to be smaller than this. 6 millimeters will be tinier. They'll be thinner. I accidentally actually bought a bunch when I was getting confused about syringes. That's okay. The units, there'll only be 50 units in one of these, so it'll be 0.5 of a milliliter. So when you're reconstituting, if you do have a smaller syringe, you're just going to have to calculate. For example, if you need 2 milliliters of backwater and you've only got a 0.5 milliliter syringe, obviously you're going to need 4 of those, okay? Pretty easy, but you want to make sure that you understand and that you've written down how much backwater you're going to use for one bottle. Like, make yourself some notes. Make yourself some notes for each bottle of different type of peptide that you've got. It'll be easier for you. Okay, thanks. Bye.